नमस्ते बच्चों, खुश रहिए। आई जी Muskan Kumari from the Department of Science and Technology, and I'm working here as an assistant professor in JVWU Women's University and the Faculty of Education and Methodology. So today I will discuss the next session. Your topic name is here basically the line configuration in the computer networking. What is the line configuration of computer networking? And here the basic word line means that what, how connectivity is going to be established and how you are transferring the data with which communication channels, how the channels are created and how they are associated between the two networks and the two nodes or two systems. Clear? So we will discuss these things. So before just starting these things, I just want to recall something in which previous session what we have read already, isn't it? So just previous session I have discussed about the with you that the basic introduction towards the computer networking, in which we have discussed also the types of the networking. There are multiple types of the computer: LAN, WAN, isn't it, PAN, and Mm. Also network host, these host area network, these all various types of the computer networking which we will have discussed, and the features of the computer networking is also discussed in that ones, and in which features is basically your communication channels, your regarding the speeds, your file sharing, backups and rollback, and hardware and software sharing, security, scalability, and the reliability. These all are the features of that which is briefly discussed in the session first. And in the session second, we have discussed the architecture of the computer network, in which there are two types of architecture of computer network which I have already discussed with you. Like what, first is your the peer-to-peer network, and second is the client server, isn't it? Peer-to-peer network and the client server, the basic differences between the peer-to-peer and the client server architecture is that in the peer-to-peer network there is no any dedicated server, isn't it? But in a client server there is a dedicated server through which all the end users or the clients are going to be managed. Clear? So these all are things all about your the previous session, uh, and now today basic the topics of your session is I have told you that line configuration. Okay, so to make it in easy way to understanding to all of you, I'm just going to share the some files through which we can easily understand that how communications channel are established between the two computers, two nodes, and the two systems, and what is the basic working of these things, isn't it? So wait, hold 1 minute. I'm just sharing that thing. Yes, this one. Okay, so this one is the, here is the line configurations. What is the line configuration? Line configuration basically refers to the way of two or more communication devices or more devices, that might be your computers, that might be the nodes, printers, and any other devices, more devices that attach to a link. Line configurations is also referred to as a connection, isn't it? And the a link is the physical communication pathway. What is the line? And if you talk about the line, it's just like also the link. What is the line? The line which is used to connect between the two nodes, two system, two server, isn't it? So this line is also known as a link, that we are creating a link between the two nodes, two devices through which the communication should be established. So this link is which type of link? So the link is the physical communication pathway that transfers data from one device to the another device, or one source to another source, another destinations. For communication to occur, to establish the communication, two devices must be connected in the same way to the same link at the same time. So for establishing the connections, there must require at least two nodes through which at the same time, whenever you are going to connect the link with one nodes at the same time, that same link will be connected with the another nodes. That's why we can establish the communications and transfer the data from one node to the another node. Isn't it clear? So this line configuration has two modes of the possibilities. First is the point to point, second is the multiple point. ठीक? Okay, so if you talk about the point to point configuration, so a point to point line configuration provides the dedicated link between the two device and actual length of wire or cable to connect the two including the microwave satellite link. Okay, infrared remote control and TVS remote controls also. Suppose whenever we are talking about the line to line, point to point, or you can also say that the line to line. Point, basically say the point to point. Point to point communication is what? Systems to system communication, node to node communication. So point to point is basically what there are, you have two nodes, or for two nodes you are establishing the connections at the same time with the same link, and two devices use actual length of the wire, whatever the lengths will be required, but regarding the distance between these two nodes, and the actual length of wire is required to connect these two ending points, isn't it, which will also include your microwave satellite link also. If we talk about the infrared remote control and the TVS remote controls, then this is happening here. If the entire capacity of the channel is reserved for transmission between these two devices, what we are saying, please listen here. The entire capacity between these two channels, which is the capacity of your communication channel, is reserved for the transmission between these two devices or the nodes of the system. Most point-to-point line configuration use an actual length of the wire or cable to connect the two ends, but other options such as microwave, satellite links are also possible to connect the communication between these two links. Okay. So now, if we discussed regarding the point-to-point, network topology is considered to be one of the easiest and most conventional network topology. So it is also the simplest and established and understand. To visualize, one can consider point-to-point network topology as two phone connected end to end for two-way communication. Suppose here this examples, this diagram will explain the point to point. Here you are saying that there are two systems or two workstations through which we are using the channels. That channel name is the link. At the same time, these same links is used for these connecting for the two workstations. Clear? So main there is one mainframe and another is the workstation. So if we want to connect the establishment for the communication, then we are using the same link, same channels for these two nodes, these two systems for connecting at the same time. Now here you can see that there is a workstation, and the workstation here are two more devices, which is intermediary devices between these two. Then what will happen, the connections will get from these ones, isn't it, and the connection is get from these ones from for this workstation. Clear? So here the link is not established well proper. So to visualize, one can consider point-to-point network topology as two phones connected end to end for two-way communications. And for the two-way communications, we are also connecting the phones for the end-to-end. Now, if we talk about the multi-configuration, multi-configuration is what? Multi-point configuration, and the point is basically refers to the nodes, systems, and whatever the workstations you are using here. So, multi-point configuration is also known as the multi-drop line configuration. One or more than two specific devices share one or more than two specific devices can share a single link capacity of the channel is shared. Okay, more than two devices share the link, that is the capacity of the channel is shared now with the shared that capacity of that particular channel has possibilities in multi-point line configurations also. So there is the two things. One is the spatial sharing, another is the temporal sharing. So spatial sharing, if several devices can share the link simultaneously, it's called spatially shared line configuration. And if user must take turns using the link, then it is called the temporary shared or time shared line configurations. Here is the diagram which is basically showing you to the basic differences between the your point to point and multi-point communication. You can see here there is mainframes and the multi workstations are at the second side. So this is the same link which is used to give the communications or make establish the communication channels between these all the systems. So you can see that here there is only sender side. Suppose there is one mainframe and they are spreading the links. The link is similar, same capacity channel of the link is connected with the multiple of the workstations and perform their task as usual. Clear? So in this session, overall what we have discussed today, I'm just going again to repeat that things all. Uh, that in this we are basically sharing the line configuration. Why is the line configuration is required? Line configuration is basically required for the transferring of the data or make a channel establishment for the communication, isn't it, which helps to transfer the data from one source to another source and from one node to the another node. Now, if we talk about the line configuration, how many types of the line configuration may be possible for making the connection establishment for the data communication? Clear? So, for the data transferring, to make the data communication, we will use two type of the line configuration. First will be your the point to point, second will be the multi point. What is the point to point? Point to point is also known as the node to node, system to system line configuration, in which we are basically using the one communication channel, that is also known as the link, and the capacity of that link is same, linked between these two nodes to whom we are using to the connection establishment, isn't it? Suppose here is the two workstations, they are using the same link at the same time with the same capacity of that link for the establishment of communication channels, isn't it? So this is called the your line to line communication. Now, if we talk about the multi-point communication, multi-point configurations, then we can say that there might be at the sender side one and the same link with the same capacity and at the same time will connected with the multiple points or multiple system, multiple nodes to sharing the data from one node to another nodes, isn't it fastly way? So what is the, if anyone can ask to you that what will be the advantage of point to point? In point to point, you can easily say that the data transmissions is very fast, because here is only two devices is used. So whatever they are sending the data to this one, they will get easily. But the data, the channels or the data, whatever we are sending, the capacity of the data must be less than or equal to the your communication, the capacity of your communication channel or the link, isn't it? So it is they, the transferring of data rate through this communication channel or link will be very easy or delivered to the destination. Clear? So this is the basic advantages, and the security is might be the security is very high because here is the end-to-end data delivery. Okay, so if you talk about the yes, there is one more the things. Suppose you have to send the data to the receiver side, and suppose there might be any possibility that your channels going to be break and noise will be occurred in yours in case, then the data may be get lost, and there is no any other source through which we can reach the data to this site, to this server side or the destination side. Clear? So this is the disadvantage. Now if you talk about the advantage of the multi-point configuration and disadvantage of the multi-point configuration, so the first advantage will be what, that whatever the data is distributing you are, isn't it, so that data will get by the multiple systems. Suppose if you want to send some data to the three systems or the three nodes, then you can send the data through only a single link, or the communication channels through which you are sending that data is very fastly, isn't it, and at the same time all the systems which are connected with the same link, with the same link capacity of the channel is will get all the data at the same time, particular time, isn't it. So here the more time for reducing the data to each particular systems at the or the nodes at the same particular time will be less. Clear? So the disadvantage will be what? Suppose if the link of, if there is some errors are generated to this system, suppose, isn't it, suppose some system it gets some errors, so the rest of the systems will get the same informations and they can work properly whatever the required work for the end users. Clear? And here is two things also, there can be possibilities in multi-point line configuration for the sharing, that what, special sharing is that devices are share the link simultaneously, is called the spatially sharing. And temporal sharing is what, they are using the link, and this is called the temporal sharing link line configuration. Okay, so I hope that you all will get this session very in briefly manners, and you all have got all the points regarding this, the line configuration of the in the computer networking. In case if you have any problems, then please let me know your query and the problems by using the comment section box. Please drop there your query, and I will solve that query in the next session with you, isn't it. And read these topics also from the many standard books and online open access websites through which you will get the informative data regarding this. And please do it by yourselves, and many questions also solve many questions which will arises from this session, like what is the importance of point to point configuration, can you explain the multi point configuration with an example, real time example. Okay, then you have to give an example and describe the all the points, conceptual points. Clear? So be prepared for all the sessions and do your best. Okay, thank you.